So we plan to leave here the day after Christmas. We're going to head back to St. Anne's, which is the second biggest port in Martinique, where the Ray Marine specialists are going to have a look at all the problems that we've got, which includes that our wind speed indicator isn't working. It's not telling us where the wind's coming from, nor what speed it's coming from. That's Marcus. So I have to phone him to check what the wind is and all of that. But yeah, not lacquer that these wind instruments are gone. And I do wonder if maybe it's got something to do with all that shit in the mast, because there's lots of stuff going wrong with the MFD. Actually now getting intermittent depth, even at low depths like this. So we've got all these problems. The system's shutting down by itself. It's now doing a ghosting thing, ghosting of the AIS. AIS is the thing that shows us where all the other boats are and lets them see where we are. It's showing us twice. It did it in Cape Town and it's doing it again now. There's lots of problems with our navigation equipment. It's all under warranty, so those people over there are going to sort it out before we move on. You can see water speed is going crazy. You can see there's no wind speed, it just always says 0 coming from the front. And actually there's no depth either. Now, I'm not sure if the depth is normal, but often we don't have depth in very deep areas. But this weekend when we pulled into the bay around away from St. Anne's, even though we were in 5 or 6, every now and again we were getting those 2 lines and then it would come back. So, but I've never seen the water doing that before. The guys are still working on the wind instrument. And the guy at the mast. It's starting to look like it's not the actual instrument, but the cable in the mast. This guy Christoph seems like a real buff and he really knows what he's talking about. He's diagnosed the problem pretty quickly, and they changed the wind instrument above there. It made no difference. So yeah, shortly we should see. I think they're going to be pulling the cable through. Lovely guy came on. His name was Christoph, yeah. And what did he do? He looked at the Ray Marine stuff. He tested all of these test meters and what have you, and he started checking the wires. So it worked here, the wind instrument worked here in the saloon, but it didn't work on the top of the mast. So clearly the difference between here and the top of the mast was the cabling. The other thing from Marcel's side is there's 2 conduits in the mast. The one is the factory conduit, which I gather, and I stand to be corrected, as PDC, and the other is the aftermarket conduit, which I gather is aluminium. Now the slapping in the mast all the way across the Atlantic sounded like metal on metal, but Marcel has always been insistent that he doesn't think that it's the aluminium aftermarket conduit, and that he thinks it's the PDC one. And up until now, I've thought, nah, Marcel's wrong because of the sound. But since Christoph from Carib Marine came here the other day, it turns out that it's the wind instrument cable and a couple of the others that are chafed and that are not working. And as we've crossed, so they become more and more chafed and more and more faulty, and so we've lost more and more functionality on the instruments. And the instruments we're losing the functionality on are the factory installed ones, and the cable that he's seeing as having the chafe coming in and out of the mast is the cable that goes into the factory's conduit. So it could be correct that the factory's conduit is now moving, which is moving the wires on that exit where it exits and goes into the mast. Whereas if the factory conduit was still, then it wouldn't have had that chafe. So Marcel could be right. One way or the other, we bought the boat from Leopard and we bought the aftermarket from Leopard. So whichever cable it is up the mast comes from Leopard. They just need to attend to that. And I'm sure they will. Some of them have been going on in Cape Town and some of them happened on the crossing. So fortunately Leopard, Daniel actually said, look, that's why crossing is good, because all of these problems come to fore. I think we had more than anybody else, but so that's where we are now. So they came on a week ago on the 27th. Today is what day? The 3rd of December.
January.
3rd of January. Try to connect Carib Marine, so Oliver from Carib Marine with Marcel from Leopard, because Marcel says they have to approve all the costs. We went to his office today and he said All right, he'll get the quote. He prefers to deal directly with Leopard on the Leopard problems.
He's going to call Marcel on Monday.
Yeah, he wants to call Marcel on Monday. So on our quest to get to Grenada, and I say quest, when we left Martinique, it was a pretty rough day. I found I had real difficulty trying to judge the wind. So much so that when I judged it as being too much for the code 0, and we try to fill the code 0 in, all that happens is that the furling line just slips inside the furler because there's too much pressure from so much wind. So in other words, not having the instruments nearly led to a situation where A, I might have blown out that code 0, and B, I couldn't furl it in because there was too much wind. So this whole wind instrument thing is really worrying. Here's our boat with absolutely no wind information. It's saying that the current is at 4.8, which is actually just, or 4.9, which is our boat's, and in the direction ahead of us, which is an exact representation of our boat speed. So this is also related to the wind instrument. So I do get rather angry when here we're going with absolutely no information whatsoever. Frankly, just not acceptable. So you can see the weather is pretty hectic. I don't know if you can hear it. But the squall came from that side. It's still pretty thick over there. There's a bit of blue sky ahead, but pretty much all around us the weather's got a little bit angry. So let's see. Yeah, we seem to be dropping off. What I did do is I let the sail out so that it was really so the sail is instead of, if the wind is coming from this way, instead of the full force of the wind being in the sail, I just let it out as much as I can before it starts flapping wildly. I assume that the flapping can cause damage, so I've just got it at that point where the wind in theory is slipping off. And it seems to be dropping off now. We don't know what wind we've got. I can see it's coming from a little bit behind port. So probably, I'm guessing 120 degrees. And we're getting 7 knots speed over ground. So we've got no way of telling what the water speed is, what the true wind is, what the apparent wind is, none of that. We can just tell our speed over ground over there, now down to 6.6, and we can briefly tell the direction from the wind vane right at the top. You can see the arrow sticking out to the left. The reality is when this thing snapped and when this happened, there actually wasn't a lot of wind. I'm guessing there was probably 15 or 20 knots of wind. See here, this is the end of the bowsprit, and this is what's happened. This is where the spinnaker halyard gets held on. There's a D shackle that goes here, and then the whole spinnaker halyard, the pressure of it is there. So we had the code 0 connected here, and you can see it's literally broken this. So I've loosened the 2 wires at the side here. This is the same wire that is stripped from when we were underway. We noticed that. We're going to go off and have repaired because we have to be able to have a bowsprit, as this is what's at the front of the bowsprit, and that there is effectively had the code 0 furler attached to it. And you could say, okay, well look, because the wind instruments aren't there, Kevin flew the code 0 in too much wind, and that's why that broke off. I mean, that's pretty strong metal. It shouldn't have broken. And that would be fine. I'd still have a claim because it's, would be caused by the fact that I didn't know what the wind was because of all the mast problems. But actually, to tell the truth, at the time this blew, there wasn't very much wind. On reporting this issue to the Leopard agent in Cape Town, again, I was told this is the first time that we have ever seen this issue. Soon after, we met another Leopard 50 owner here in the Caribbean, a guy called Gerard from sailing vessel G1. And lo and behold, his bowsprit triangle end was also broken. This is a picture of his and ours together. And I've since noticed that the metal, when you look right at the end at where the break is, doesn't seem to be a solid metal. It almost looks like an alloy with striations or fibers in it. Now 3 months later, in April 2024, the Leopard broker, who advised us that we were the only one that has ever had the problem, has just told us again that the factory says that the metal snapping is an operator error. So apparently operators are able to snap this metal, as well as no one else has ever had this problem. Basically, the reason we're in the boatyard is there were many things that went wrong with the boat on the crossing, but the biggest of which was a mast issue. So we're actually under Utopia at the moment. Here you can see the mast lying here, and the guys are going to work on it.
Yeah. The metal pulley makes the noise because metal with metal, but if you tie the rope.
Yeah. Okay, so remember we were crossing over the Atlantic, and suddenly our wind direction started to go around, right? The wind direction started to go wrong, but not fully. And then it was okay. Hang on.
Yeah, because you make the noise with the...
Yeah. So then wind direction totally wrong. Then wind speed totally wrong. So one by one, everything has been going. So then the question is why? Because it's loose, you think? Okay.
You know, lost. Where is the pipe? He never put. He forgot. He forgot to put the pipe.
Factory.
I don't know where is the pipe.
Yeah, who put the pipe?
You know.
So then which cable was getting damaged with the wind?
When you pass the cable,
Yeah.
the wind sensor is really fragile. We can break when we tie them.
Yeah.
The cable sometimes block.
Yeah.
So that it continue with what it's like.
Yeah.
And you tie it.
Yeah.
Because it's fragile. And this with the aluminium, we make this.
Yeah.
And sometimes it cuts. Not here. This old is not a problem, but on the pipe, when you have one pipe, sometimes it's on the border of the pipe.
Yeah.
Because it's slim. This is not
So
slim.
we're
This
coming
is not
out of the
slim. It's
pipe.
not dangerous this because it's not slim. And normally outside you have one loop. But
Yeah.
it's not a problem. You make one loop with the cable. Right. Bon. This boat, I know all cable is tight. all is well tight. But we break one connector because it's not possible you leave the because you put all connection, you go on the top and you tie all.
Yeah.
Donc you cannot open. Normally you let one loop. Here is not a problem because you cannot see. And you let one loop for this, one small loop.
Okay.
You have one small loop, you have one small loop.
Okay. So I mean in Carib Marine in Martinique, they wanted to pull the wind instrument cable out. They couldn't. Because they said
You can't because we need change.
it's too tight,
You have to change the wind cable. It's because we said, because you said for my colleague you want to change.
Yeah, no. I mean, they said that. So they took the wind instrument down and they connected it inside, and everything worked. So they used that to eliminate the fact that, well, to prove that it was a cable problem here. So I assume that because we're getting this knocking, the cable, and because the wind instrument went slowly, it didn't go fully. First we lost wind direction. It was just doing this, but we were getting wind speed. Then wind speed started going up to like 50 knots when we were at 10 knots. It just started then it went away totally. Wind speed went away. Then wind direction went away. You know, I even did that calibrate, do the turn thing, hoping it would. So it was slowly. So tell me again what he's saying, because I'm not fully understanding.
It's supposed to be a conduit in the top part of the mast here.
Yeah.
Not necessarily one that comes from the bottom all the way to the top, but one that starts maybe just past the radar or at the top, that holds all of these cables.
Yeah, nothing's being held here. So there's absolutely no conduit.
There's no conduit at the top part here to hold any of these cables.
Yeah.
And they're just banging around.
Yeah, then one on the roof, and this one here. Four,
We put 4 and put this on the place.
Yeah.
Put this down.
Yeah.
Put this on the place again.
Yeah, I see they run it somehow on that, right?
I don't know why you did this. And you see this? Look.
Yeah.
You see this?
Yeah.
It's not normal. I think this is here because one cable or
One
rope
cable has been
or
pulling
one rope.
through. Yeah.
He cut this.
Yeah. No. So today is the first Monday in February, and Damien is about to split the mast. There are 168 bolts that have got to be opened in order to open that mast. Yes, the guy's going to move it with a, see, he's got little golf trolleys, just giving it a bit of a nudge. Yeah, so he nudges, it's not even moving that.
Okay.
He gives us loose conduit. This is it.
Yeah.
All this conduit
That's
is
a
loose.
plastic one, right?
Yeah, it's a
PVC
very,
one.
it's a very almost black coloured one looking one.
Great. What's that?
This is,
Oh, broken off pieces of.
yeah, I think it might be related actually.
Maybe that's what was holding the PVC pipe on.
No,
See a Louis?
that's Ruby's. It just works from behind.
Yeah.
Oh, right, so this doesn't hold the PVC
No, no.
pipe, right? Oh, okay. That's really- Yeah, that's it. I recognize that noise. More so than the noise up there.
Yeah.
But you got that loose up there and this
And
whacking
this,
in the
yeah.
middle. So that's probably all going into this, and this is dropped down and it's just whacking like crazy.
Alright, it's almost there. A little bit more. A little pull again. Yeah, little one.
That's hey!
Oh.
Can you see that? See that? Oh, right. It's actually broken in the center.
Open first before
Yeah.
It's a lot, we can see it. There's damage here. Looks like it goes close, yeah. This thing is damaged. It looks like it was damaged. This is exactly it. It's exactly the problem. We found the problem, but the factory can tell us why this happened. We can't tell them why it
And
happened.
there's no other pipe.
So only this one pipe,
There's
right?
only this one pipe.
Yeah, but this pipe is supposed to be up. So it's just going to fall back down. If this mast was up now, it would just fall back down. That's all that empty line at the top.
No, it's not enough pipe. This pipe's finishing here. It's only about 2 meters pipe.
I don't know.
Yeah, that pipe is right
So the pipe's finishing there, but that's why with the camera we couldn't even see it. So yeah. And it's finishing way over here. Can you see in
It's
there?
finishing here. About
It's right here.
About 5 meters.
Wow. So this pipe goes from here to here.
Yeah.
It's 2 meters apart. This is totally stuff. So loose at the bottom. I showed Marcel. He said it shouldn't be loose at the bottom. Now I've asked them what caused the problem, and they said, well, they don't know what caused the problem. All they can do is show me what's inside, and it's for the factory and for Action Yachting to tell us why this is like this. So when we open up inside here at the middle, there is only this conduit at the middle, only this conduit, and it's definitely not an aluminium conduit. It's a PVC conduit, which is splittable like this. There's extraordinary damage on it. I can move this conduit up and down. So here we go. There it goes. There it goes. I'm moving it this way, and this is definitely what the slapping in the mast was. And the damage on here is all over in these sort of lines of damage. So another line of damage all the way, and there's nothing else. And this conduit ends 2 meters up there. Hey there. It ends 2 meters up that way and right over here. You can see that's the end of it right here, and that's where it ends. You can't see it in here, but it's about there. So about just past the as far as those holes are, again over here and then over there. So this conduit is about 2.5 meters long, and it's the only conduit from here to the top of the mast. I can see right through now. You can see the people on the end. There's nothing, just loose cables, lines, and this conduit that ends 2 meters from this point and goes 1/2 meter down to that point. Looking further in, I can see conduits way down there, but I don't know what that all is. Anyway, so now guys at Leopard and the factory and Action, you guys can tell us why this is like it is, slapping loosely and movable up and down like it is. So here's the full explanation of why our navigation equipment failed while the 5 of us were busy crossing the Atlantic. According to the riggers here in Grenada, the cabling that runs up the full length of the mast is supposed to run up inside 2 pieces of conduit, one in each half of the mast. Each piece of conduit almost the same length as the half of the mast it is secured to, leaving a small gap between the two over which the cabling should hop. You saw for yourself when our mast was opened at the middle, that ridiculous little 3-meter piece of loose conduit at the center of the mast. that swung wildly in rolly seas like a hammerhead on the end of a whip. All that force of all of that swinging cable inevitably wore away at the unprotected cables where they exit the top of the mast. Ladies and gentlemen, this, with the compliments of Leopard factory, is why we slowly lost all our instrumentation during our Atlantic crossing. This is the reason that our crew woke us up in a panic in the middle of the night, in the middle of the Atlantic, to report this boat spinning around and around, out of control. You can see they've taken the troubled ducting away from here, the one that was causing all the trouble, the little 3-meter piece that existed in the middle.
Yeah, that was here.
Yeah, you can see right through. That's amazing. But that looks like, was that drill through or is that damage from the, must be drill through?
That's a drill.
This
was like this, so when they drill the holes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So you have
That's
to be
shocking.
careful. I'm not surprised. They're
Yeah.
going to do a few more of these.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so pleased that Jean-Michel said, you know what, Kevin, this is such a mess. We want to redo the conduit properly. That's what I wanted done, you know. I'm very thankful, Louis. Thank you for that. So this conduit here, you can see they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lengths. 4, 5, 6 lengths. This here is actually the furler drum, and they've pre-cut these, which is great, and they look to be about 60 mil, I think, which is fantastic. It turns out they've got the new conduit in, so instead of the 3 small ones, 3 small PVC ones, they've taken those out and they've got 2 big PVC ones, and they've left the one of the original PVC ones and the aluminium. So we've still got 4, but 2 of them are big. Hey Damien. Yeah, good. I can't believe the Mast's together already.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's fantastic. Really fantastic. So now they've just re-spliced this. I really did think I was going to get it with the cover on, which I think is a better way. But this is the old one that was all frayed and chafed because this had come off, and they haven't yet got the correct D-shackle, which will be bigger, and then this rope, the top, the loop will go through it in a different way, so that there's no risk of the D-shackle ever touching the aluminium. There won't be any knocking and any noise from that. But you can see this, how damaged this was because of this having come out. Now they've stuck it back. I'm not happy with it because it's pop riveted again. So, you know, it came out pop riveted before. So, and in fact we found the pop rivet, or one of them, on the deck. So why this is not going to happen again, I don't know. But I feel more comfortable that we've got a D-shackle through here rather than just this, because in theory, if this broke, this here, the pad eye could just drop into the mast. But with that D-shackle on, if for some reason, God forbid, this should break, well, at least the D-shackle will keep the pad eye from dropping into the mast. So really now we get to find out how good a company Leopard are with regard to honouring their warranties, and we'll also keep you updated as to how the work goes and how it's being handled from a factory point of view or a Leopard point of view. So, bouncing to real time, now in April 2024, we're semi-pleased to report that we've had some progress with Leopard/Travelopia on those items that they refer to as factory warranty items. Just before uploading this video, we received a rather matter-of-fact email informing us that they intend to reimburse, replace or repair about 70% of the items, including most of the Mast issue. The email never declined the balance of the 25%, but we are looking for an absolute confirmation from Leopard of the balance so that we can finally start enjoying our
Please
lifestyle.
click the subscribe and like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help our channel.